Is Eli Apple the answer for CB2 for the Bengals defense this season? Let's talk about it. What it do, Who Dey Nation? It's the 513 coming from the Wincinnati podcast with your boy JE. Every time I hear that beat, you know what I'm saying, I can't help but to nod my head a little bit and feel the rhythm. It is a funky beat, man. But happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Today we got a really good topic to talk about. It's camp season. The camp battles are live and in full effect. And this past weekend, the Bengals had, great attendance for the back together again open practice, man. So that was awesome to see. Hope you got out there, got to see the players, got to feel that atmosphere. I wasn't able to make it out, but I heard that the bottom bowl of the stadium was practically full. So a lot of stuff going on this week. We actually get to see an actual football game, which it probably won't be that exciting. It probably will not be exciting at all, but it'll be something to watch, man. I think the Jaguars play here on the 4th. So football's right around the corner, right? Football is almost here. Get your fantasy drafts in, get the jerseys, get ready for the season. The Who Dey Nation, Cincinnati Bengals, your team is getting ready to play. And can't wait for the football season. I feel like much anticipated. And really, what a good time to be a Bengals fan. What a great time to be a Bengals fan when they're in a pivotal year coming off a Super Bowl appearance and really just stacking the chips to go ahead and put this franchise exactly where it needs to be. So I don't want to get too far off topic. I'm just juiced. I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about the Bengals, and it's a lot to be excited about. So I started off the video by asking the question about Eli Apple. Is he the answer at CB2? And it's not as simple as black or white. It's not a simple yes or no answer because I think really when you look at Eli Apple and what the Bengals defense did this past season, the answer really isn't there. You have to dig a little bit deeper, and then you almost have to say, you have to ask yourself, is Eli Apple really the answer at CB2 this season? What do the Bengals think about him? How are they going to use him? And is he going to have any competition, right? Speaking of camp battles, we know good and well that Cam Taylor-Britt, super athletic, super fast, springy. He's having a good camp so far. He's caught some eyes as far as the media. I'm sure he's caught the coach's eyes. That's probably why they really, when they drafted him, they thought he was springy, had the speed to play that boundary corner spot and compete with Eli Apple. So Eli's got competition, right? We know Cam Taylor-Britt is there. We know he's having a great camp, which, in my opinion, that kind of made me think, okay, we got Eli Apple. He signed back with the Cincinnati Bengals for a 1-year, $4 million deal. What's the plan with Eli? And is he the answer this season? We're not talking about the future. We're not talking about this 2024. We're not talking about, we're not talking about the season 2025. We're talking about right now. Can Eli Apple be the answer this year and be a contributing corner for the team? Eli Apple, as you all know, is a menace on social media, probably one of the most hated players across the NFL. But I think it's important to know, right, when talking about Eli Apple and talking about the football player and the human, two separate people, right? It's easy, especially in today's society, to have a preconceived notion about somebody and hate them when people don't even know the person. I'm one person that I could absolutely never hate somebody based on, what someone else is telling me. They'd have to actually really do something to impact me for me to form a really that strong of an opinion on someone. I think Eli Apple, in my opinion, might be misunderstood. I think part of his game was talking trash. And don't get me wrong, Eli Apple started off on the wrong foot in the NFL when he was drafted. And look, we all make mistakes. We've all had moments in our lives and our careers where we did something maybe we weren't proud of. But with that said, we all have an opportunity to bounce back and right the ship. So I think, Eli Apple coming to Cincinnati after going to the Giants, being that first round pick. I think he was picked. I know he was picked by the New York Giants, but I think he was picked 10th overall, only behind Jalen Ramsey. That's a tough act to follow, right? But Eli Apple was still in the NFL. Last season with the Bengals, he played well. Through week 9 of the season last season, he in man coverage, he allowed a QB rating below 80 5 times through week 9 when receivers were targeted that he was covering. And then the QB had a rating below 70 in 3 of those games, right? So through week 9, he was actually playing well in the beginning. If you know, Eli Apple wasn't brought to Cincinnati to start. We had Trey Waynes, right? And Trey Waynes ended up having an injured-riddled season to the point that he retired and said that he's not playing anymore. So that was a bummer that Trey Waynes never got to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. But, in reality, I think it allowed Eli Apple the opportunity to showcase to the world what he can do and what he can bring to a team, right? Eli Apple, statistically speaking, when you look at the PFF grades, he's probably not the highest corner on there. I know he's not the highest corner on there. But what I do know is that within this scheme, with this team, with this defense, Eli Apple, he played well at times. He made a lot of plays at times, critical plays, game-winning plays against the Tennessee Titans per se, right? At the end of the game. Ryan Tannehill throws the ball into coverage, but Eli Apple plays coverage very well on that play. Ryan Tannehill doesn't just throw the ball there to get batted up. There's a receiver there, and Eli Apple is able to play the hands of the receiver, punch the ball up in the air, tip the ball for interception, and then the Bengals go on to win that game and make a trip to the Super Bowl. So, statistically speaking, Eli Apple, I think he had 2 interceptions, 10 pass deflections, but overall, Eli Apple played well within the scheme. And, while a lot of people may not have faith in what he can do for the team, I think it's fair that Eli Apple gets another chance as the CB2 and starts for the Bengals. I think that, look, with competition, or I guess a better thing to say is competition breeds success, right? Bringing in Cam Taylor-Britt, in my opinion, is the writing on the wall, along with the deal for Eli Apple as far as a long-term solution. But this year, Eli Apple will have every opportunity to be CB2. And really, I think if you're Eli Apple as a veteran corner that just played with a team after leaving the New Orleans Saints where you didn't really play your best ball and you haven't quite lived up to expectations to this point, he actually had a good season for the Bengals. And coming into the next season, he said, again, he was getting teased and trolled by players like Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Rashad Bateman, Lamar Jackson. They were trolling him on Twitter, but he went out and said, "Hey, look, you guys are giving me more motivation than you know, and I'm ready to unleash. I'm ready to unleash on the division and the people that we play next season." So Eli Apple is motivated, man. He's motivated to make a difference. He's motivated to be the starting CB2, and I think he's motivated to play at a high level, right? Signing a 1-year, $4 million deal, probably the best deal that Eli Apple got offered. I think it took him a while to get re-signed by the Bengals, but that's not stability, right? That's not a long-term deal, which that Eli Apple is hoping to be able to secure a long-term deal, whether it's with Cincinnati or another team in the future. the reality is that Eli Apple is playing on another prove-it deal, right? And in order to, make more money, to stay employed in the NFL, and to have an impact with a team, he's got to perform well. So um, Eli Apple was in a situation to where, hey, look, it's put up or shut up once again. We saw that you played well last season. Do it again. You know what I'm saying? Do it again. Show people that you've matured. He did that last season. Zach Taylor spoke very highly of him. Zach Taylor said, hey, look, Eli Apple is one of those guys that he does everything that we ask him to do. And he's done that. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at Eli Apple, and I'm bringing up some of his clips from this past season, he played very well, man. Here against the Steelers, he's got outside release. The receiver has outside release, and he doesn't quite make a play on the ball, but he makes the throw difficult on the quarterback. Right here, he straight up stonewalls Chase Claypool, making another play. And I think it's really easy for people to look at Eli Apple based on his history, based on his past, and say, this guy, man, we can't count on this guy. We can't count on Eli Apple. I hope Cam Taylor-Britt takes his spot. Eli Apple is a veteran, folks. And based on last season, he might be the answer at CB2. Cam Taylor-Britt coming in as a rookie, may not be ready to take those CB2 snaps, right? I mean, we call it cornerback 2, but the reality is that you're a starter, and there really is no CB2. It's CB1 and CB1A. So, a lot of times last season, in my opinion, Eli Apple flashed. And right there, amazing play that he made there on the back shoulder. Terrible throw by Big Ben, but just to be able to move and make that play on the ball and get the interception and almost take it to the house is incredible. So I'm very happy that Eli Apple almost, in my opinion, was able to be not reborn, but have a revived type approach in Cincinnati. I think that, look, with this team, a team, Cincinnati, that people probably – I'm not going to say probably, people across the league, people on Twitter Spaces, they don't look at the Bengals and take us seriously. I think Eli Apple fits into that underdog role that walks around with, a little bit of hate in his heart, you know what I'm saying, and wanting to prove the world wrong. And that looked like a touchdown, but it was overturned and incomplete right there. So, when it comes to this season, you look at the camp battles of Eli Apple, I think there's no doubt about it. As it stands right now and what he did last season, he's CB2 until otherwise noted. Now, provided he stays healthy and all those good things, and he continues to make plays, I think he'll remain CB2. I don't know if he's the long-term solution just based on this recent draft, even though the Bengals did only draft one corner. But I think it's realistic to think that in the future, Cam Taylor-Britt should be able to push him for that spot, if not win the job. Cam Taylor-Britt is super springy, a hell of a playmaker, and he's an elite athlete, and it's just it's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. This is one of the most intriguing camp battles to me because when you watch Eli Apple's tape back, there's no doubt about it. He made plays. This is the playoff game right here where he deflected the ball and, we got an interception, and then Joe Burrow comes out and he throws the ball to Jamar Chase and we win the game. And a lot of people have talked about the Cooper Kupp play at the end of the game where, the memes are being made about Eli Apple. But the truth is this, folks. When you look back at that play, and I don't want to go back to history. I don't want to look at, games. I don't want to look at the Super Bowl and rewatch it over and over again. But I do want to tell people this. Go back and look at that game. Go back and watch that play in slow motion, right? I'm not pointing blame. I'm not removing blame from anybody. But I think that Eli Apple wasn't solely responsible for Cooper Kupp on the play where they give up the touchdown. Just based on the look, when I watched it back in slow motion, it kind of looks a little bit it looks, I'm not going to say the player who I think it's on, but I do want you to know that, Eli Apple probably wasn't the sole blame for that play. Um, and I think I'll leave you with that. So to to leave you kind of with my last thoughts on Eli Apple, yes, he's the answer at CB2 to this point. He's had some great camp battles with Jamar Chase. But really, for Eli Apple, the truth is, just because you're the answer right now doesn't mean you're the answer for the entire season. Eli Apple has to answer the question every single game, every single week for the Bengals. He has to answer that question because you got a young gun like Cam Taylor-Britt, hungry, chomping at the bit to probably get on the field. So um, he is the answer right now, but he has to answer that question, and he has to make sure when he comes in from week to week after games that coaches can say, yes, every single week that Eli Apple is the answer for CB2. And I think that's the important part to note, right? Every single week, perform at a high level, play great in man coverage, play great in zone coverage, come up and tackle. A lot of those clips I showed you all, Eli Apple was making plays on the ball. He could have had a couple more interceptions, too, that he dropped that we saw there. And look, if Eli Apple can play at a high level and really replicate how he played towards the end of the season, excluding the Super Bowl game, he he's going to get himself a long term deal. And Cincy, I don't know, but maybe somewhere else. And coming from a guy like myself who um, have had situations to where I wasn't proud of how I started out, but it's always about how you finish. I'm rooting for Eli Apple. I want you to have a great career here. I think you can be successful. And I think, it's cool rooting for the underdog and seeing someone that people doubted have success. So, Eli Apple, man, who day to you? Wishing you best of luck this season. I say yes, you're the answer is CB2, but you got to prove it every week, brother. Who day? Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll catch you next week.